Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to show you how to avoid this and go to this. Now if you don't see the difference, then you're probably tuning into the wrong video, but for those of you that tuned into the right video, because what you're looking for is a solution to avoid this, which is top heavy spooling and avoiding very little spooling on the bottom. So if you notice that it's going top heavy, there's something wrong here, and you came to the right video to solve your problem. So what Daiwa and many other reel companies do is what the problem is, the spool is too high at the very bottom. When you're spooling up new line, when this spool is rotating and you're spooling new line, this spool right here is not high enough at its most bottom spot on the screw. So when this spool, it goes up and down, at its lowest point, it's still not low enough to put the line on the bottom of the spool. So what you have to do is take this off. Let's take this off. It's taking a while. I might fast forward this. That's off right there. Take your spool off. And you see right here is there's this little plastic piece right here. You don't want to break that off. You want to slowly take it off, but you don't want to break it. If I had the proper tools, this could go a lot faster. Usually they put a like a rubber band, but right here they have like this plastic kind of washer. Let me see. I think what this does, it prevents from anything coming off, the actual bearing coming off. So we took that washer off. You want to keep that, put that off to the side. Take the bearing off right here, right? And then this is your shim. Pretty sure. This is all a learning experience between us. So this is your shim right here. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that on. But what we need to do is install one or two more of these, right? So unfortunately, I threw away the boxes. Let's put this sucker back on. There we go. Unfortunately, I threw away the boxes, and your boxes should come with these extra shims right here, the plastic washers. So let's go ahead and take it off of another reel. Hopefully they work with each other. I'm gonna take one off of the Revros. Hopefully they have the same shim. So we might end up using both of these shims. So this is a leftover reel that I have, and this might work. We'll see. So we're going to take off these shims off of the Revros. Okay, put this back on, and this is not in working condition. This spool, this reel is a leftover reel for parts. The spool is broken on it right now, so we're just going to use it for parts. And this little nut right here at the end, this cap, was lost on transport. We're going to go ahead and put these shims in, if they work, which I'm pretty sure that it does. So let's put that shim on. There we go. See, it fits perfectly right there. And we're gonna do another one. It might only need one additional shim, but we're gonna do two. Okay, and then we're gonna put our bearing back on. Oh, we need to put the bearing back on from the Revros. All right, slap that bearing back on. There we go. Sweet. And then we're gonna put this one plastic piece back on. Usually it's a rubber band, a black rubber band, but this time it's plastic right here. Another, like a mini shim. But that just keeps everything kind of together. This plastic, come on. There we go. There we go. So everything's all set right here. Let's go ahead and put on our spool again. All right, and then we're gonna put our spool back on. Perfect. And then put the cap back on the top. And then we're gonna unspool all this line and re-spool it. And then we'll see what happens afterwards. So I'll link this in the description, but you can buy this for your drill bit and go ahead and unravel your whole entire spool and reuse it if you'd like. All right, so we're gonna re-spool the whole thing. All right, so we're gonna take the line that we just unspooled and re-spool it. And through one guide, I like to just spool it with one guide to make sure that the line's going straight on there. Some of the leftover line on the spool and tie a uni to uni. Let's go ahead and do that. It's the easiest one to tie on. Get that line wet. We're gonna cinch it together now. Be good. Really want to cinch down that braid, not over cinch it, but just enough pressure. Then we're gonna trim up the tag ends. Make sure you trim it up very close to the leader knot because you don't want that leader knot to get in the way. And then we can start spooling. There we go. And let's see the final product after I reel the remaining braid on. As you can see, it's a lot more even now. So there's some room on the top of the spool and there's room on the bottom, and it's nice and even. So it's not too heavy on the top, not too heavy on the bottom. It's pretty parallel with the spool. It's pretty lined up with the spool. You know, I would like to, I'm probably gonna redo this one and add more backing to it so that the braid line is more full, so I can get my maximized cast. And if you guys haven't seen the previous episode, how to maximize your cast, check that out. That'll help a lot. But what I like to do, as the previous video said, is spool up and leaving an 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch left on the top of the spool. So almost coming close to filling up the spool so that you can maximize the cast with less drag on the spool, and that'll get you more distance in the wind. But yeah, this actually solved my problem in comparison video from the beginning. It was a lot more heavier on top than before, and adding those shims helped to raise this spool so that way the line could grab on the bottom a lot more. It solved it a little bit. Maybe one more shim would have helped, I think, but I'm happy with the results of this, and we'll do a comparison of both. I really like the green spool better because I have a lot more line on there, and if you check out the bottom of it, see how there's like no gap in the bottom. There's like 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch gap for the green one. I really like how I did the neon green spool. I feel like it could have been better for the yellow one, but honestly, I couldn't be more happier. with the success of adding 2 more shims on to the yellow spool. If you guys like this content, please subscribe. Comment below if you have better solutions or if you had success adding shims yourself to even out your spools and to maximize casting distance. I'll check in with you guys later. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.